Okay. Last week, we kind of ended Noah's sojourn on the ark. They got off the ark, and the animals began to scatter. The first thing that Noah did was to make a sacrifice to God, thanking Him for keeping them safe. And he sacrificed one of each clean animal on the ark. And when he did, there was a rainbow in the sky. It sounds very much like there was never any rainbows before that. Can you imagine living where there are no rainbows in the... Well, it didn't rain, so they didn't have storm clouds, I guess, before that. But there was a rainbow. And the rainbow was specifically... Yeah, you imagine seeing the first rainbow ever. That rainbow was a promise from God that He would never flood the earth again. It wasn't a promise just to Noah. God promised the animals also, the wording in the Bible, that He would never flood the world again. So we know there will never, ever, ever be another flood that will cover the whole planet like it did in Noah's time. That will never happen again. Well, there are individual localities will flood. Water pipes will break and flood offices. But, and there are even large local floods that wipe out entire towns, but the planet will never flood again. In fact, God promised there will always be a winter, there will always be a summertime, there will be a planting time and a harvest time. That will continue as long as planet Earth continues. This will never happen again. What will happen, as we are told in the book of Peter, there will come a time when there will be a loud noise, and God will melt the earth and destroy it just as thoroughly as He destroyed it with water. But this time He will destroy it with fire. In fact, it says all of the elements will melt. The whole thing, the whole universe, will be melted down and reshaped. So it will be just as thorough a destruction as what happened in the time of Noah. And at that time, time will end. Time is not an ever-existing thing. It had a beginning and it has an end. And time will end, and then those who love God will be in eternity with Him. And that will include Noah. We'll get to talk to him and find out what it was like being on that ark that whole time. From here, on our map, you can see this is where Mount Ararat is, and we're pretty sure that's actually where the ark landed. And they left from here, and yeah, there are reports of there being something big and wooden up there. We don't know for sure, but we do know that the first civilizations that history tells us about happened in this area, which is called the Fertile Crescent, and that's between the Tigris and Euphrates River. And so this, yeah, it's right next to Ararat. It's down the mountain from Ararat. And so this is where civilization began. Move my chair over a little bit. We know that, see, I didn't look it up this morning, so I'm going by memory. Where Abraham actually was about in here, Ur of the Chaldees. And we will go into the Tower of Babel next time, which is, I believe, down here where the two rivers join together, which would have been a great place to farm, because the lands would have been really fertile and well watered. Yeah, and then Israel is over here. So we can see, it makes sense that this Ararat is, the mountain we call Ararat today, is the same one the Bible called Ararat, because that's where civilization flew from. Flowed from? I'm not sure the tense there. But that's where it came from. It was down that direction.
White brothers didn't have anything on them.
Yeah. So, that's kind of brings us up, refreshes what we were doing before Christmas, and brings us up to being ready for our next story, and this is where we are in the world, is settling this area here. The Assyrian Empire will be here, the Babylonian Empire will be around in here, as will the Medo-Persian empires in these areas here. Okay? So let's sing our song. He's got the